In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Bastila Shan for the Black Series 3 and 3/4 inch line. She was released in the black and orange packaging back in 2013 and 14. So this particular one you're looking at, I actually recently acquired. Interesting story, back in 2014 I think it was, I actually found her brand new at my local grocery store. They had two of them on the shelves. So I went ahead and bought her. It was about $9.99 at the time. And I held on to it for about a year and a half or so, brand new in the package. And then for whatever reason, I decided to sell it. I wish I didn't do that. Of course, I look at it from the perspective of now and wish I didn't do that. But at the time, I was trying to downsize my collection a little bit, so that's why I did it. And I ended up getting back about what I paid for her at the time. But what's funny is in the shipping process, the bubble actually fell off the card, and the buyer ended up sending me the picture of it. And I told him a little bit about the Bubblegate situation. When I had the action figure, the bubble was actually on the card, but I guess it wasn't on there good enough, and then even in the shipping process, it fell off. But if you recall, back in 2013, especially in that orange and black packaging for the Black Series, a lot of the bubbles were falling off the package. Sometimes you go into retail there and you see the bubble on the pallet there, and then you would see the card on the actual peg. It was a very interesting time. They call it Bubblegate, which is an interesting name for it. But yeah, so that's the backstory about Bastila. So this was back in 2015, I think, when I sold the action figure, and here we are at 2024, and I reacquired her. I've been wanting to get the Black Series Bastila for a little while now. I know there is some significant differences between this one and the TVC figure. In fact, I'll just bring the TVC figure right here. And I've also been kind of wanting to redo my review of Bastila in the 3 3/4 inch line. I wasn't too happy with how the review turned out for the Vintage Collection one here, and I thought about redoing this one. But I figured this Black Series one might be a nice redo to that. But you can probably see right off the bat there are some significant differences between the two. The two main ones are, she does have a slightly different paint job. So you can see she has a much more darker tone for her outfit here compared to the Black Series one. This one's much more of a lighter brown, while this one's kind of like almost like a brownish mahogany color. I do think the outfit looks better in the TVC figure here compared to the Black Series. But in the head sculpt too, you can see on the TVC figure that her eyes are a little more spaced apart. While on the Black Series one, they tried to correct that a little bit and have the eyes a little spaced together. I'm not sure if they did a resculpt of the head at all, or if they just kind of painted the eyes a little closer. It almost looks like it's a little bit of a different resculpt. Hold on here. Like her face here looks a little more narrower compared to the TVC figure. So perhaps it's a partial resculpt. But other than those two main differences, they're the same exact action figure. Bastila was very popular when she was originally released back in 2011, and I did get this action figure in 2011. But you know, a lot of people missed out on her. They didn't find her in retail, or they just didn't want to get on eBay and pay the ridiculous markup price for her. I think this action figure cost me $20 on eBay in 2011, which compared to what she goes now, that's not too bad. But this was another chance to be able to get Bastila out in the wild and for retail price. So I ended up getting this action figure loose. I won it on in an eBay auction. Didn't pay too much for it. So I'm happy to finally add her to my collection. And now I finally have all the Hasbro Bastila Shan action figures that you can get. So I'll probably do a short for that here in a little bit, showing all three. In fact, I'll just bring out the other Black Series figure here right now. And as you can see, there is a huge difference between them all. I would not mind seeing Bastila revisited in the TVC line, and maybe a scaled down version of the 6-inch figure here. I think a lot of people will like that as well. Anyways, we'll take a closer look at this 3 3/4 inch figure here. So the paint is not too bad. This was still during the time where a lot of the Black Series action figures, while they weren't as high quality of a paint as their TVC counterparts, if they were a repack, it wasn't too bad still at this time. I know going in the later part of 14 and into 15 even, a lot of the Black Series action figures had huge paint mishaps. Commander Thorn and Commander Doom, the Bush Leia, for example, those were all pretty bad. Bastila's not too bad. So the eyes closer together, I think it looks a little bit better. But especially along her hairline there, the paint could be a little bit better. Especially that strand she has across her forehead. But it's not too bad. As for the rest of her outfit here, it's pretty good. Just the light brown. I think the yellow's a little bit more of an off yellow compared to this figure. Has a deep hole in her, in her ear there. Not so much on that one. So in terms of her articulation, she does have the ball joint at the head. Hinge shoulders, and the hinge at her shoulders is much better compared to my TVC figure. On this one here, the shoulder pads, or the shoulder armor, I just can't really get to really go much further than that. You can kind of see. And I don't want to risk breaking it or wedging it or anything where it ends up having a mark or a scuff or something. This one's pretty easy to do, so I am thankful for that. But she does have hinged elbows, swivel wrists, and swivel waist, and swivel hips, and hinged knees, and hinged ankles. In terms of her weapons and accessories, she just has her lightsaber, the ignited one, very plain silver hilt. It is nice to have a yellow lightsaber. We don't get too many of those from Hasbro. And of course the unignited hilt, which can attach to a belt there. But overall, it's pretty much all I can show you about this Black Series Bastila here. If you've seen my review of this TVC figure before, you pretty much know exactly what you're getting. Just a slight repaint and slightly different head sculpt with the eyes painted a little closer together. So would I recommend her for your collection? If you're a Bastila Shan fan, like I am, then yes, I would say she's highly recommended. Even if you already have this one. It's just something a little bit different to bring to the table. And gives you a little bit of a variant of Bastila. If you can only choose between one of these two, I guess it comes down to your personal preference. They both got likes and dislikes. The TVC figure here has better paint quality, but if you want probably a little bit more accurate head sculpt, which is still not quite as accurate as this 6-inch figure here, this one's just slightly better than this one, I think. I'm happy to have all three of these at long last. It's been, what, 13 years in the making now? It's a nice action figure. Happy to own it after long last. If you can find her for a good price, I would highly recommend it. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support. And check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.